Welcome to the Brick House of Art. I'm your host, Brick Astley. The purpose of this talk show is to talk to independent artists, creators, builders, and collectors. Today's guest is a legend in the Solana space, co-founder of the fine art marketplace Exchange.Art, A2K DeFi. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Brick House of Art. I really appreciate your time here to talk about Exchange.Art.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Hey, I just want to extend my gratitude and flowers because I know you from bumping around in the art zone spaces. Exchange.Art gave me my start in the Solana ecosystem. I was able to be a part of their collaborators and getting to interview so many artists. So if it wasn't for Exchange.Art, Brick House of Art wouldn't exist. So I'm just so very grateful for Exchange.Art. But for those that don't know you, can you give me a little bit of background?
Definitely, and I'm actually a proud collector.
Oh,
I'm actually a proud collector. I have a print.
You have a physical, that's right.
To have. So I have the NFT as well as the print.
And there's a secret message that only you get to have as collector.
I'm not going to tell anybody.
You're not going to tell anybody. Nope. It's a super secret squirrel message.
Super secret, you're just going to have to join the club.
That's right.
You're just going to have to join the club. I'm going to tell people.
So if you want to join the Brick House of Art and get your prints, please go to all the links below. But I digress. Let's send them to Exchange.Art to go collect those. Give me a little bit of background on Exchange.Art, how Exchange came to Solana, yeah, just a little bit of background on Exchange.Art for those that might be seeing for the first time.
So Exchange.Art is the leading digital fine art marketplace on Solana. We currently enable artists to be able to do buy now, take offers on their work, as well as do auctions. Both primary and the secondary market can be done on Exchange. So it's really a one-stop shop for artists. We really pride ourselves in being open and inclusive. So as long as you're original artist, we believe that you should have the right to sell. One of the stories I've been telling people recently, Brick, was a story about my mom. When she went back, my parents got divorced. After they got divorced, she went back to college to get a degree in photography. And when she left that, she realized that it was really hard to sell their work. And this is 2 decades ago. The internet isn't what we know today, and the ability to sell is really driven through the galleries with very much like kind of a stranglehold. And I never forgot that moment. She had to, of course, do like many photographers do. They had to go into commercial work in order to make it. And so one of the things that drives me so much is that everybody really should have the right to sell. They should be able to make a living. They should be able to pursue their passions. And in the traditional art world, it's very limiting for people. And so what we aspire for Exchange.Art to be is a platform for any creative that wants to make a living pursuing their passion.
And I think you guys knock it out of the park with selection of blockchain to do that on. I think you really carry on that essence of that story there as a marketplace. I know not just myself, but a lot of my friends and artists and colleagues that we've onboarded to Exchange.Art have found a life-changing success here. And is there some sort of like appreciation or like, I don't want to say catharsis because that kind of sounds dark, but is there some sort of like sentiment, like knowing you're changing people's lives like for the better and enabling them to do this?
Yeah, I mean, like I've heard some pretty crazy stories. Like I put out a tweet just to kind of hear how this has impacted people's life. And some people were able to put a down payment on a house. Some people were able to help their parents. Some people was able to afford cancer treatment. Somebody was able to afford paying off student debt. I mean, like, this is like a lot of different things. And so, yeah, making a living, being able to change your life, being able to pay for healthcare, get shelter, like all these things, it's pretty overwhelming. It's very different than the PFP market. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been very successful in the PFP market, and they continue to do so. And it's just with the 101 art market, it's really a deep relationship that you're able to have as a collector with an artist, and that's just really cool. And an artist to your collector too, by the way, it's a two-way relationship, right? So that's been really, really rewarding. And we originally started off as a PFP marketplace at the beginning of November, and then we pivoted to a fine art marketplace. We had both, and then we decided to purge all PFPs from the marketplace. We realized that there's a lot of places where you can sell PFPs. There was more than enough. There's countless marketplace, but there was just nobody that was caring about the individual artist. And the reason why that's so important is it's really hard to get discovered when you're going up against like volume-based plays like a PFP project. You'll never show up on a leaderboard, right? And so and you'll never be given the attention from the marketplace. And so we thought this is a great opportunity. This doesn't exist on Solana. We can be that change. And the few months that 12 months prior to us launching, maybe 200,000 in sales for 101 Art. Since we've launched 8 months, we're looking at north of 9 million that creators have been paid. So it's a considerable number, and this is all during the bear market. I've never seen the bull market, right? Exchange.Art has been born in the bear market, and yet we're continuing to grow the market every single month. And I really look forward to the bull market for these artists, because they're, if we're doing well in the bear market, we're going to do even better in the bull market.
Right? Isn't that the sentiment? You guys just keep building, you keep delivering, you keep innovating. Like, I know we're less than a year old, but you keep innovating and delivering with constant updates. What enables you and your team to move with such swiftness to meet these tumultuous market demands? Because there's got to be some sort of hurdles that you're accommodating for as they come up during this bear market.
Yeah, there's two things that I think are really important. That it's really easy. Like if I was to create Exchange.Art from scratch, right? You're looking at probably 40 to 50% less time to develop what we've developed, right? The reality is, like, people look at like a PFP and they think, oh, it's just a JPEG, right? But the tools that you have to build for the PFP market are so different than the tools you have to build for the 101 art market. They might both be JPEGs, but they are so different. And with that, we had to basically transform our whole platform, the whole setup, and so that took us, while we were still moving forward, about 8 months. And you saw, like, our last release, in where we changed the whole minting experience for the creator. That was our biggest release from a code perspective since October. That was like a huge release. It changed the entire back end of Exchange. Wow, so it's like imagine you're trying to turn the Titanic while sales are still happening, but you're migrating all these people off this like separate portal onto this now one unified experience without any disruption for the user. It's a lot of work. But to answer your original question, like how do we approach it? We talk to users all the time. I run product for Exchange, and I still do community events. Like I do art zones almost every day. It's being there. I use the site. I'm almost at 100 pieces collected. Like I love what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing it. And so, like, what are the things I want? What are the things that the artists want? Those are the reasons why we innovate so much, is because we're users of the site. We're we have tons of conversations with creators before we actually develop. Just being close to the people, really, that's why we're able to innovate so fast. And we have an amazing dev team. I mean, honestly, these guys are like best in class. And it's just great. It's just a great team.
I'm gonna second
That's really why.
forth on that. all of your team members have always been great. Anytime I've encountered anything, they've always been on it and it's been fixed right away. And I've never had issues again with it thereafter. So like
Yeah.
kudos and flowers to the dev team, to the marketing, to the whole Exchange.Art team. Y'all are doing like a multi-prong approach as well. Like you have the art zones, but then you're also having a pretty strong in real life presence. You did
Yeah.
the NFT NYC. There's hacker houses where you're maintaining strong
Yeah.
presence at with galleries. Can you talk to me a little bit about some of your favorite moments from some of these events?
Yeah. So I think like circling back all the way, we did this Formula One event, and we had a gallery that we set a digital gallery set up, and there was just a lot of people that were very new to crypto. And I think that's when the light bulb really hit for me was when people see the digital art in a screen, they start to realize this is something they can put in their home, and they just find a whole new level of appreciation for it versus just seeing it on a website. And so at that point, I realized that like if we're going to really get mass adoption, then we're going to have to start engaging with people with where they're at and showing them art in a way that they can start to appreciate. Otherwise, we're just going to be stuck with the early adoption phase, and that's just not what interests me. What interests me is, you know, crypto art starting to transcend traditional art. That's what really interests me. So, you know, that's why we are continuing to go with Solana, setting up these really fantastic, well curated exhibitions. We have a senior curator that's from the traditional art world, Haley, and you know, a lot of time is spent in curating the text, the placement of the art that's selected. So a ton of time is taken for each of these exhibitions, but they work. A lot of people come in, they ask questions about it. New people are on board. I remember when I was in London, there was like 20 artists that were there. And like 10 of those were brand new artists that were now coming on chain. And was because of the event. Obviously, that's not the core focus of those events. The core focus is development. But you'd be surprised who will stop by to learn. I mean, there's tons of people, marketing people stop by. And I think that's one of the things that Solana does so well. Solana understands how to take the blockchain to the next level from a marketing perspective. And we're just thrilled to be, you know, able to support that mission.
Yeah, everything throughout. You guys have been supportive of the mission, supportive of all the artists that have come through, creating these life-changing, opportunities for them. What's it like getting to meet some of the artists, like some of the first ones, and kind of can you talk to me about how you go about approaching onboarding, maybe like a traditional art enthusiast or art collector?
Yeah, so I just actually just talked to this brilliant artist. His name is Samuel Ridey. He is from the UK, and you know he's a great photographer. Has been featured in New York Times, New York Magazine, and you know we're gonna now do a drop in August, and it's really just like he's curious. He wants to understand about the space, what to do, what not to do, and we just had a fantastic conversation. And I thought his art would really connect with a pretty large segment. And you know, it's a lot about just people are very interested in this space because they understand it's a whole new buyer base and they want to figure out how to get access to it. And they know the galleries can't get access to this buyer pool, right? This is a brand new buyer pool. And so they're very, very curious about kind of getting started. And so it's really just a conversation about how to get started. But there's a lot of demand from the traditional artists. The question is, are they willing to do the work? Because it is a lot of work. To be a crypto artist, you have to do the work. You don't get to depend on somebody else anymore. You have to build your own brand. And so some artists are willing to do that work and some aren't. And it really just depends. You know, you have a transparent conversation with them and like, this is what success looks like. This is the kind of work that these people put in. Are you willing to do that as well? You know, the newer artists have a tendency, the more established, or like, do I want to venture in? You know, it really just depends on the artist. But it's been great, the conversations. They're usually very well received and they appreciate the honesty.
It's good to be transparent, and Exchange.Art and yourself have been nothing but transparent throughout Exchange.Art existence, as well as here there. That in mind, we have the in real life events, we have the Twitter spaces, we have constant innovation. What's next? What's the future for Exchange.Art? How are we going to disrupt the traditional art
We have a
world?
gallery that's coming up.
Where's the gallery?
So we actually have a physical gallery that's coming. We have a physical gallery that's actually popping up at the end of the summer. Not the end of summer, actually the end of this month. Sorry. And so end of July. And so that's going to be really exciting. We have multiple shows that we've have planned out, and this is going to allow us to attack the traditional art collectors, meeting them where they're at physically, and being able to sell art directly to them. So I'm very, very excited about that. And this is, it's a slightly different approach than how Super Rare has done it. We're actually like, it's more of a kind of a rotating exhibition space where we're trying to have a high touch model. So it's a little different. But I'm really excited about the new relationships, because you just can't tweet at these people. Like if you want the traditional art collector, you can't tweet at them. You have to meet them where they're at, and it's going to be a brilliant show. I'm really excited to give more details this week, actually. So,
Well, we are
got a little bit of alpha there.
That is, we got the alpha alert. Pew 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 pew. Foghorns. Make sure to put on the A2K notifications. Just go on to Twitter, notifications there, notifications for Exchange.Art. Make sure to give them a follow.
Mills, put Mills too.
Put Mills and put DJ and Poet, because he front runs.
Yeah, DJ Poet front runs us. He's too fast. He's checking that site all the time.
He's on there all the time. That's why he's making such legendary sales too. Like just really.
That's right. He's doing great.
Dude, DJ and Poet. Who knew poetry, right? That's exciting. But anyways,
No,
do you have any final closing comments for artists, collectors, anybody that's paying attention, and why they should come to Exchange.Art?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about like the art world, even the digital world at like Artsy and sites like that, the question is, when you're doing business with a company, are they living the values that you want to see? With us, with Web3, we feel like the biggest principle of Web3 is to be open and inclusive, to allow everybody to be able to make a living selling art. And, that's what Exchange is all about. That will never change. It's deeply rooted in the values of the company. And so, if you're looking to do business on Solana, you're looking to sell fine art, we're without question the leader in the space, and we're more than excited to take you on board.
With that in mind, make sure to follow all the links down to Exchange.Art, A2K. Very grateful again. Thank you so much for your time today on the Brick House of Art to talk about Exchange.Art and how you guys are disrupting the traditional art world. With that in mind, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others. And when you go out and go touch a little bit of grass, pick up a little bit of trash, so that way we can take care of Mother Earth and do all this crypto NFT and fine art. GM.